Heavy metal
My
rock.
global mind.
I'm Robert Cavuto, and today on My Global Mind, I am very fortunate to be speaking with Mick Mars to talk about his upcoming solo release, The Other Side of Mars, due out on February 23rd. Mick, welcome. It's truly an honor to talk with you today. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
It all started with this album for me in 1981 when I picked it up.
Really? You weren't born then.
I was, I swear.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I love the guitar tone. Even back then, your style and your playing was always incredible. And I've been listening to the solo album nonstop since I got it. I really love it. And the first thing that stands out for me is the fierce guitar tone. Since Crue's first album, your guitar tone has always changed, and it's been evolving. Tell me at what point you got to this sound that you found on this album.
I experimented with my sound and my tones for years and years and years and years. That's why, changing and stuff. But it took me that long to really be happy, contented with that. But you never know. I don't want to stay the same as either.
Yeah.
So I'll probably just keep throwing. I mean, this tone that I have right now, I really dig it a lot.
Yeah,
it's really good. It's really fat, and it's good for soloing. It's good for all. But there's also other, textures, colors that I want to put in as well. So I don't know. I just learning. I mean, tone is so important to me.
Yeah.
So I just keep playing around with it. Really.
Is it part of your evolution? Is it part technology, or is it something? It sounds like you intentionally sought it out. Is it a conglomeration of all of that?
Well, yes and no. I would buy or get or purchase, whatever, tons of different amplifiers over the years. Being on tour and this and a day off, I go to pawn shops or vintage guitar stores or whatever, and just buy stuff and experiment with stuff and play around with soft tones or loud tones, and making a really a really nice tight guitar tone that sounded really good but not loud enough.
Yeah.
So you plug it into it like a bigger amp, of course, and make it big. So yeah, playing around with a lot of stuff like that. The order in which my effects racks are plugged in, it matters a lot. That took really a long time. So, but yeah, that's basically what I do. Just keep playing around. Yeah.
Was there a lot of playing around on this one, or was it really? It was just a raw, down and dirty sound.
Yeah, that was one Marshall stack. No pedals, straight through. The guy who recorded it horribly. I had to call Michael Wagner in to fix it. So do you have the Roy Thomas Baker or the Michael Wagner one? That's the Roy Thomas Baker one, I believe.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
No, this is not the first round. This was the second round.
Yeah, that's RTB, I believe.
Yes,
but
RTB, yes.
Yeah. So anyway.
I didn't know it was Roy Thomas Baker, RTB.
Yeah, Roy Thomas Baker, yeah. But yeah, that Roy was really good with it too, but there's a lot of people that really prefer the Michael Wagner one. If you can find one,
yeah,
you should get it and compare. And like I said, Roy's a bud of mine and stuff.
Yeah.
But you know how things work sometimes. They go like, well, I won't go there. Politics, I guess.
Of course. There always is politics involved in everything, right?
Of course. You know how it is.
Understanding this album has been in the works for a few years. Why haven't you recorded a solo album sooner in the 80s or the 90s?
There was, I tried like playing around with, with things my whole career, but it was like when Motley was Motley, it's like that's what I wrote, and some of the some of the songs that I wrote for Motley weren't quite up to par either. So they got ditched. Some of the songs and ideas that I have, for me were like, ugh, and after a while they become very dated. So,
oh, wow.
So, the first time that I really dug into it and really serious about it was like after the final tour in 2015, right? And on 2016, the first day, I started writing for this album now.
Wow.
So, I've had ideas and stuff for a really long time. One of the songs is the instrumental at the very end. I stuck it at the end on purpose.
Yeah.
But the instrumental, I wrote that lick probably in the mid '90s or something.
Wow.
So I dug it out. I needed one more song, and for the record, and I went like, yeah, let's throw this on, and I intentionally wrote it for like initially wrote it for vocals.
Yeah.
Nobody knew how to sing, so I just put some guitar on it, and it's it's kind of like based on the old sleuth movies, the black and white,
Yes.
Flatfoot, whatever you want to call them. So yeah, just playing around, and experimenting.
Yeah, we talked that the album, the guitar tone is fierce, but the songs are very heavy. Heavier than typically we've heard you perform before. Is this going to raise a few eyebrows and going to surprise a couple of people how good and how heavy this is? That you haven't lost a step.
No, and I like to stay kind of like current but true to myself.
Yeah.
I'm from, I was born in the 50s, so my career was in the 80s and kind of midway through 90s, but it carried on for a long time. But staying true to myself and I don't know, updating. Like I updated my gear, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I have to update me too. I don't want to be stuck in that era. That's already done. I've done it. I'm
Right.
moving on. So yeah, intentional, big, different.
Well, you're a creative guitar player, a high energetic, entertaining guy, and I've been seeing you since you opened up for Ozzy Osbourne. You were Shout at the Devil. So I've been seeing you live since then, and understanding there's challenges with your ALS. It doesn't seem to have any impact on your fingers and your hands and your playing ability. Is that accurate to say? I mean, because
Yes.
these songs are so incredible and so played so immaculately well. I gotta believe it's not
Yes. Yeah. AS rarely goes into your hands or feet.
Got it.
But mine is about down to my knees. My knees are starting to be really, really whacked. But that's about it. These will stay fine. It's like, I think like a very, very small percent of people get it in their hands,
right,
and stuff. And that would be more like a rheumatoid arthritis instead of ankylosing spondylitis is what I have.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got lucky.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Thank God. Thank God. Yeah.
I like your skeleton there. your skull shirt.
Oh
I
yeah,
see that.
a rock and
Oh,
soul shirt. Yeah, I tried to
very
find.
nice.
I don't have any tattoos like you, but I tried to find something with a skull on it today.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. Paul Taylor of Winger co-wrote a
Yeah.
lot of the songs on this album. What did he help you bring out?
Uh,
The songwriting, because you guys have a really great chemistry.
yeah, he and I definitely have a great chemistry. I didn't really know what to expect,
Yeah.
but I'm writing like really far out there, and Paul is the guy that goes like, oh wait, hold on a minute, pull back, and pull it back some to make a little more sense, you know. But yeah, we yeah, I come up with these things, and he goes like, where do you get these ideas from, and this, all that kind of stuff, and I go like, I don't know, I just like play and put it down, and cut it into pieces and push it together and stuff. And he goes, okay, but when he comes in and does his parts, he kind of like pulls it back a bit, not a lot, but a bit to make
Yeah,
it,
into a song.
yes.
All right, here's where we're gonna break it, and here's the harmonies and all that. So he did a tremendous job. So
Oh yeah,
I know
yeah,
he lives in Nashville. Kudos to him and tell him I did think that's a killer album.
yeah, yeah. He's yeah.
You also have two singers on the album,
Yes.
Jacob
Mm-hmm.
and Brian, who are
Mm-hmm.
incredibly versatile. From
Mm-hmm.
ballads to the rockers to the guttural screams. How
Mm-hmm.
did you settle on those two for the songs and to be on your album?
Mm-hmm. Well, the two songs that I have Brian on
Undone and Killing Breed.
were yeah were they're more of a desperation angst kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And I had at first Jacob trying them, but I wanted it more desperate, like when you like break up with your wife or your girlfriend or your best friend, and this and that sorrow and that angst and that hurt that you feel is what I wanted to capture. And Brian caught it right away with his raspier voice.
Yeah.
Which is, what I wanted. So I guess I was being selfish. I don't know.
Yeah, this is
No,
your solo album.
The song had, yeah, really. But I really wanted those two songs in particular to really, grab a hold and more emotion and
Those are two of my favorite, Undone and Killing Breed. Great songs.
Thank you.
How did you come across both of these guys? I mean, I apologize, I'm not familiar with their history, but how did you find them?
Through Paul Taylor. I met Paul through Michael, and it just like went poof, blew up. We all like, it was crazy. I mean, Paul, Jacob, and myself, was just like this thing that just went like, and now add Ray Luzier,
yeah,
over the top, and then Chris Collier comes in on bass, and it just like, oh my god, oh man, this stuff, I was really really pleased with it.
Yeah.
Now where I gotta go, the next album, like we're talking about, another step up, and that's where it's gonna go.
I think you have a great chemistry with all the guys. Ray is a crazy drummer, isn't he?
Oh yeah,
He's insane, and the play he did on the album was just fantastic. So yeah,
yeah.
I get it. I have to wonder, was there a long line out your front door of singers who wanted to be on this album in some capacity?
No, I kind of like, just asked, people that I was associated with.
Okay.
Instead of like putting out something public, because definitely that would happen.
Yeah.
We did it with Motley when Vince left, like way back,
right.
And it was crazy. So no, I kept it like small and kind of, secretive. Do you know anybody that does this? So yeah. I kept it low key.
Good way. And on social media, John Corabi said he sang on 2 songs. They're not on the album.
Mhm.
Will they ever see the light of day? Will we ever get to hear those?
No,
Really?
probably not. No. They are not. I don't feel like they're. I just feel like they're dated now.
Really?
Yeah.
Dated.
And
dated.
they're I could have somebody else do them, but not I don't want to put it on my record. And another reason is like it's taking a step backward to me, to that to the Motley Crue John Corabi album, which was, in my opinion, the best Motley album, and a lot of people didn't like it, but it to me, I went like, wow, this is really good.
Yeah. Hooligan Holiday is a killer song.
Yes,
that's a great.
There was some good stuff there.
Yeah, it was. I remember when it was 1994. 1994.
Yeah, somewhere around there. I think around there. Yeah.
Because you guys, you and John worked great. So, sometimes there's a carryover from Motley Crue to your solo album, and John could have been that conduit somehow, so I was wondering how that was working. But no, I totally understand your perspective. As a guitar player and an artist, do you feel you still have something to prove after 40 years of playing guitar?
Experimenting a lot more.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that wouldn't really fit in the Motley format, of course. When a band's like, imagine Ringo doing a drum solo or something, doesn't work. So yeah, like I said, when I play with Motley, it's like that's how I play. But going outside of the box and by myself, I can go anywhere I want.
Right. It must feel good to be calling all the shots.
Yeah and no. Yes. Yeah. And then, that means Paul has to step in and go, Mick, come on. But yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. How about, do you ever worry about living up to your expectation as a guitar player after influencing so many guitarists and myself, as you could see? My shirt in the background, the white one, kind of mirrored one of your ones early on. So
yeah. Well, I was always, I guess, the guy that goes like, if you like me, cool. If you love me, even better. And if you don't, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because there are 100 million different flavors and styles and sounds and tones and everything else. And I'm very happy that I influenced, quite a few people, for sure. But, then again, it's like, my heroes were like Jeff Beck and those real tone crazy people like that, and Jimmy Page and those kind of guys, and back to the blues days, the rough raw sound, like let's say like Michael Bloomfield had, or Muddy Waters, or kind of like that. All of that stuff I just love to death. So it's like there's a lot of different tones, playing wise, styles, all that stuff. So I just kind of like, I don't know, invented my own, I guess. I don't know.
You carved your own path. That's it's a great sign of an innovator, and you are truly an innovator to so many people. I can't play exactly like you, but I learned a lot of funky chords from you. You were the big changeover from like the Judas Priest and the Iron Maiden bar chords, when I was learning how to play, to these augmented chords that you were doing, like Looks That Kill, so that helped me improve as a guitar player. And I was in a band, and we used to play those songs, so it was a very different style of playing for me. And I appreciate that. It took me to another level. And that's what you do to so many people. You influence them and take them to another levels.
Wow, that's cool. And actually, I got like that that style of my playing, that part of my playing with Jimi Hendrix, because I always played before I discovered Jimi Hendrix. I didn't play bar chords. I played with my thumb over the top.
Mm.
And he was like a guitar player. I went like, how cool is that? You know, but yeah, it is. Like say you're playing that chord in like say A. Well, then when you have this thumb over the top and it's a bottom, and energy goes, and it just sounds fatter.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, and I remember as a kid, I was just like, that's not a bar chord.
I know.
It's
not a bar
part
chord.
of a bar chord somewhere else with an extra finger lifted up. So yeah.
Yeah. It's fun.
You touched upon it earlier, your next album. What do you like about this one that you're putting out, and what do you think you said you want to outdo it? Where do you see it going? The songwriting, the guitar tone, where do you want to see that elevated?
You know, I'm gearing myself to lean more toward the Undone and Killing Breed style of things. So there'll be probably a couple more of that style of song on the next one. But I still love the kind of like hit you in the face, like Killing Breed, not Killing Breed, Loyal to the Lie, and some of those big pounder stuffs. So I have some of those too, but you know, just to keep the flow, but like make it better.
Good. Do you have songs written?
Better myself. I mean,
do you have songs written already in mind?
I have 4 really solid songs. Really solid. I mean, they're in rough, but the ideas of them are up there.
That's funny. You know what's interesting too? The second track at the end, when it breaks up at the end, I thought my computer was breaking, and I was like, "Oh, my computer's crapping out on me because I got a streaming copy." And I was like, "Oh, let me shut down my programs." And then I turned it back on again, and it was the same thing. And I was like, "Ah, Mick pulled a fast one."
That's pretty cool, huh?
It was pretty funny.
Broken on the inside.
Yes. And I thought it was broken in my computer.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of the idea.
Yeah.
Just to mess with you, you know.
I think a lot of people are going to think that too. They're going to be like, "What the hell? My computer, my phone, my computer's breaking." I want to be respectful of your time. My last question. Ever consider writing an autobiography? Because I think it'd be a tremendous read.
I probably will, but probably I've been saying this for the longest time. When I'm dying, so I can write it backwards. Does that sound silly?
That's cool. It's an interesting. It's like that. It was a movie like that too. The whole movie was backwards, and the guy wrote on his hand. Yeah,
it's cool. I like it.
I like that too. All right, that's great.
So if you want to read it forward, you start at the back. You know, I don't know.
Mick, it was truly an honor to speak with you today, and I was so excited. And thank you so much for your time. I wish you the most success with this album. I really love it, and I hope everybody picks it up. And we're going to put a pre-order link in the description so everybody could order it. Okay.
Yeah, sounds awesome.
Thank you so much, Mick. Have a great day.
Okay, thank you. You too. Bye.
Heavy metal rock.
Global mind.